Clown is a liminal figure. It is this observation, drawn from a long-term research, especially in the field of visual and literary representations, that I wish now to relate to the identification of drag appropriations of clown and clowning, with particular attention to the critical and political issues raised by such approaches. The familiarity that clowns maintain with limits and their crossing leads me to consider them in the light of the prefix trans, which means beyond, through in Latin, and thereby to posit the hypothesis of a trans figure, transgender, transgenerational, transclass, transspecies, or even transterrestrial. My communication will be based on the multidisciplinary practices of certain European and North American artists who present their work, partially or entirely, under the label Black Clown. I chose to interview each artist using their Instagram account as a starting point. My investigation was first to find out what the term drag clown means to them, to understand what interests them in the clown figure and clowning. It was also about observing how they appropriate them, where these forms emerge and for what purposes. Following an approach sympathetic to movements, transhistoric, transgeographic, transcultural, these expressions can be linked to a background filled with images and imaginations aroused by clowns. The situated points of view from which these artists deliver their words allow me to envision an intensely polyphonic cultural history of the clown figure. Everyone finds their grips there, resonating with their history, their experiences, whether it is the tradition of the rodeo clown, bullfighter, Chinese opera and mask culture in the Philippines, or even a racist story of the clown. In a critical return, it shows how much the figure of the clown is also marked by norms, circumscribed, inviting to qualify the transgressive and subversive powers so often mentioned about the clown. What does drag do to the clown, and vice versa? Artists explore and challenge the plasticity of the clown figure. They play with hybridization and assemblage, animal, monstrous plant references, borrowings from video games, haute couture, commedia dell'arte, mobilization of the theme of the witch, of the alien, funny, sexy, scary clowns. The drag clown label is often put forward as an alternative embodiment to other, more established forms within drag scenes, a way to disrupt the legitimacy, the validity of some forms at the expense of others. The drag clown performance then intervenes, possibly as a critique of the drag scenes, pointing out from the inside the exclusions, invisibility, and lack of diversity within the spaces and scenes, operating as a transgression and subversion of certain boundaries and norms which run through them. What does this performance allow individuals? How is it empowering in and outside drag? The clown's fluidity finds an echo in the exploration of their identity, of their body. Clown becomes an accompanying figure of journeys, experiences of trans identities, of feminities and masculinities, non-binary and androgyny. For what purposes do artists use their voice, the storytelling they develop? How artists harness the transformative powers of drag and clown? Individual concerns largely overlap with collective issues in an intersectional way. There are many connections between drag and activism, militancy to defund the police, body positivity and fat activism, decriminalization and depenalization of drug users, neurodiversity, fight against AIDS, sex positivity, Black trans lives matter, fight against climate change, with greater social justice in focus. My analysis will summon, like so many intersecting rings, the theoretical and methodological tools from queer, gender, fat, freak, disability, cultural circus, and performance studies.